Right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to JW3's Friday Israel briefing. I'm Judy Trotter, Head of Adult Education. Thank you all for joining us this morning, and especially our guest presenter, Professor Rachel Sarig from the Tel Aviv University. Since October the 7th, it's proved so important for us to be together, to connect with each other, and of course to connect with Israel. And we're so grateful to all of you that have joined us week by week. Keep us informed. And for today, it's also brought us a reconnection with the Tel Aviv University, which we look forward to continuing. It's a good partnership and a strong one. We'll take questions as usual if there's time at the end, so please put them in the chat so that I can pose them to Rachel. Rachel, welcome. Let's bring you on screen. You were appointed Dean of the Dental Department just in October, so these months have had an extra challenge for you. So it's not an easy task that we've set you this morning, but thank you for accepting it. And please share with us now what's uppermost on your mind. And welcome and thank you. Over to you.
So good morning, everybody, and I'm very excited to be here with you this morning. I feel like I'm in London, so I brought my cup of tea. The weather here in Israel is quite cold, windy, and a lot of rain this week. We're not used to it. And today I would like to share with you just how we're dealing and how we're facing this situation in Israel in general, and just in a little bit of a personal note of how these 3 months have been affecting me personally. So I would like to share a presentation with you. Can you see it now on screen? Great. So I'm Rachel Sarig, and before the last 3 months, if you would spoke to me like, I don't know, 4 months ago or 5 months ago, my life were completely different. I'm an orthodontist. I graduated from the dental school in 2005. I have an orthodontic clinic. I'm a clinician. I teach in the university. I teach dentistry in the dental school. My research is quite different. What I do in my research laboratory is I study human evolution. And I study human evolution by exploring teeth that were found in archaeological excavations, and by exploring the remains that we have, the fossils, from ancient history, starting from 1 million years ago until recent. I try to sketch who were the people, where they came from, the origin of modern humans, to study pathologies, to understand why we're facing with so many diseases in an evolutionary perspective. So just last year, as you can see, my profession or my research laboratory, I call it Dental Anthropology, and I study the development of humans by exploring their masticatory system, which is our teeth, our jaws, our muscles. And by that, I'm trying to find more solutions to the problem we have in the clinic. You know, a lot of children need orthodontic treatment. People are losing their teeth. We have a lot of problem with impacted third molars. Teeth are not erupting. And what I'm trying to do in my research is having the border perspective, like making a zoom out in order to study the origin of the pathologies, and maybe by that get a new perspective for our diseases. So this is my research, and I established my research laboratory in the dental school already in 2016. I did a PhD. I don't get into the research too much this time, but just to give you like a small taste of how my life looked last year. And we published last year, we had a very big publication. It was published in Science magazine, which was, it's already 2 years been. It was on the cover of Science, which is one of the most prestigious journals of the world, scientific journals of the world. We actually discovered new group of hominids. We know that there are Neanderthal and Homo sapiens, and we showed for the first time to science that there is a third group. So this is what I was doing. I was doing my dental practice, I was teaching, I was investigating, and everything was fantastic. And then I was called by the management of the university, and I was asked to run the dental school in Tel Aviv University. In Israel, we only have two dental schools. We have one in Jerusalem and the other one in Tel Aviv. We have about 400 students in the dental school, which we train in order to become dentists in the highest professional way we can. We have postgraduate programs. All the specialists are studying in Tel Aviv University how to treat endodontics, children, surgery, oral cancer. All these things are being studied and taught in the dental school in Tel Aviv. And I was asked to become the head of the dental school. And I agreed. And I knew it's a great challenge because our school is very unique and we have a lot of challenges and we have a lot of plans of how to become the greatest school, and we're affecting the community and we're supporting our students. And it's really challenging and exciting position to be at. So I was very happy to take upon. And so I started my position at the 1st of October, which was Sukkot holiday. I was very excited. I prepared everything, what I'm going to say and what will be the agenda. I want to build a new research lab. I will bring more students, all the plans you have when you become the head of the school. And then a week after, as you know, 7th of October, we're sitting at home. You don't see it here. Obviously, I didn't want to put the pictures. I guess you all know and heard about what happened the 7th of October. But the day after, we woke up into a situation of a war. And it was the first day I came to the school. I was sitting in the office, in the new office. I was, okay, what do I do now? Where do I start? What am I supposed to do as the head of the dental school? Do I supposed to do something? Who should I talk to? And I was sitting in my office and I said, how can we help? How can I help? And this was a very difficult week you probably know, you probably heard, but it was a very difficult week that week. Very difficult week. And you were looking to do something. You want to do something good. And I said to myself, okay, now I'm the head of the school. So I need to think what we can do here at the dental school in order to help and support the society, to help the soldiers, to help the army, to help the refugees. What can we do to help? And a lot of people collected all over Israel, food and groceries and clothing and games for the children. Everybody tried to help. And I said to myself, we are dentists. What can we do that others can't do? I mean, I can bake a cake. I'm not sure it's that good. I can bake a cake. I can cook chicken. But is this the benefit I can give as a dentist with all the knowledge that I have, all the knowledge that we have in the school, all the facilities that we have in the school? What is the best thing how we can best support the society at that difficult time? So really the day after, I came to the school, and one of the problems that was back then in Israel, that a lot of army units that were drafted, all of a sudden, 30,000 soldiers were called to the army. The army was not prepared. A lot of things were missing. And one of the things that was missing is medications. They came to the unit and they didn't have the medications to treat the soldiers in case of need. And one of the things they needed most was a hexacapone, which is the material that stops bleeding. And I started getting phone calls from our students calling me and telling me, listen, I'm in the front line and my unit has no hexacapone. We don't have the material, this medication that stops bleeding in case of injury. Maybe you can help us. So I went to the school and I went to the storage where we store all the medications of the school, and I opened the storage room and I started taking whatever I could take from the storage room. And here you see we opened like a collecting, we call it Hamal, it's a collecting point, collecting area. And we started bringing from the school, and we contacted companies that we work with and asked for their support. And we called all the faculty and asked their help. We have about 240 faculty staff that are teaching in the school. And we asked each one of them, go to your clinic and get all the medications you have in the clinic, and bring gloves, and bring Vemphones, and bring bandages, whatever you can bring. So this is the first week of the school. You can see here, we just collected, and doctors, staff started bringing things into the school, which we later delivered to the units. We just went to the units, south, north, wherever they needed. And these are, some of them are our students here, taking the boxes and delivering it to the unit, to the front line. And you can see the medications that actually help saving lives. Because at that 2, 3, 4 weeks at the beginning of the war, it took time to the army and to the states in general get together and to arrange the things. So this is the first thing we did at the first week. And then we started thinking more, what else can we do? How else can we support the society? A lot of people were evacuated from their homes. They had to leave their homes. They had to run away. They didn't have the opportunity of packing, of taking their own belongings. What about an old person who has a prosthesis and couldn't take it with him? What about a child who lost his orthodontic aligner? He is in the middle of the treatment. So I know we think, okay, teeth, we don't care about teeth. We care about saving their lives. Okay, this is true for the first week and the second week, but what about a month later or 2 months later? His parents were paying for an orthodontic treatment, and now he lost all his aligners. So what is he supposed to do? He can't go home. He can't go back. You're living in a hotel in the middle of nowhere. You have nothing with you. Where do you go? And this is why we opened some of the, dental clinics, all the dental clinics that we have. And we have a lot of clinics because we're a dental school. So we have like about 200 units, 200 clinics that we can use. We asked all the staff and students to volunteer, and we started providing free treatment to refugees and to soldiers who needed treatment, providing them prostheses, aligners, crowns. Some of them broke their, from stress, from trauma, they broke their teeth, they were damaged. We called them and say, come here, we will treat you. You don't need to pay, you don't need to do anything. Just come here and we'll provide all the treatment that you need. Children that were post-traumatic, that they were really scared. They can't sit now at the dental chair and being treated. So we have specialists who can do anesthesia, who can make hypnosis. We have all the staff volunteering, contributing to helping the society as much as we can. Other things that we did, and again, I was thinking, what else can we do as dentists? Okay, so we opened the clinic, we're providing medicines, what else? So we contacted both the army and the police. A lot of victims could not be identified due to the difficult condition and circumstances of the body. And I don't know if you know, but in order to identify a person, you have 3 ways. The first way is using the DNA, which is the best way, but it requires time. The second one is fingerprint, if you have fingerprints to compare to, and if the body is in a position where you can get the fingerprint. And the third way is by basing it on the dentition, on the teeth. If you can compare the teeth before and after, then it's like a fingerprint. The shape of the teeth, the shape of the arch, the position of the fillings and crowns, it's like a fingerprint of a person. And that can be used in order to identify casualties. So what we did, a lot of our staff volunteered in the police and were drafted to the army. I think about 30 of our staff was drafted to be working in identification units. But we as a school, we wanted to do more. So first we started providing them with all the materials that they needed. For instance, they needed metal aprons. When you take an X-ray, you need to put a metal apron in order to protect yourself from the X-ray beam. So, and they needed to have a large amount of X-ray aprons because you had hundreds of people working there. So we went to the school and it just collected, it was Friday, just before Shabbat. I observed Shabbat, but I got a special permission from my rabbi to go in Shabbat to open the school. I took all the aprons. I took about 40 aprons from all the clinics and delivered them directly to the army base, so they will be able to continue working for identifying the people, because the suffer and the agony of the families is unimaginable. People didn't know what happened to their dearest ones. So the people were working them day and night, day and night. And we just we just went back and forth from the school to the army base, bringing them whatever they need. Later, we also called our students. They were volunteering students. And together with the army, we established an AI algorithm in order to help the identification unit go over the x-rays to help them do it in more digital way. So our students were sitting during nights, going through thousands of panoramic x-ray. They had to mark in the x-ray the status of the dentition in order to train the computer, to train the AI system, to provide just in days the ability to make this AI software. The last thing you can see here, and this is a very difficult image, and obviously it was not published everywhere. This is a picture I took. And what you can see here is the remains of some of the 15 soldiers from the Nahal Oz base. This is what was left over from those young girls, from those young soldiers. And I was personally called for this room because, as I told you, my profession or my research as a dental anthropologist, this is what I do. I take a tooth, for an isolated tooth, from an archaeological excavation, and in my lab, I develop methodologies to study how you can identify the age or the sex of the person based on just looking on the tooth. And since those bodies were burned, you cannot produce DNA. You cannot get DNA from these bodies. So we had to use all the data, all the analysis that we developed in the lab during the years to study archaeology or archaeological specimens in order to answer the families and try and tell them who were the people, and then just to answer them if their dearest ones were in that place. You know, it was very difficult because we were looking at the pictures of these young girls. I just studied, you know, I close my eyes and I see their face. I know every part of their teeth. I can identify them just by looking at their teeth, because I was looking at their pictures for so long. And when they went to the father and told him, we found your daughter, we found several teeth, and we can identify for sure that this is your daughter, he didn't believe. He said it can't be. She was probably kidnapped. There is no way that she was there. She's so spicy. There's no way she was sitting there. She was probably running out. Maybe she's one of the kidnapped. And you have to know this, until now, some of the people we don't know if they were killed or they're being hostage by Hamas. So this was, I think, one of the most difficult weeks and days that I had to go through, sitting there at night trying to make sure, can I say for certain that this tooth belongs to this girl, and this means that she will be buried. Okay, heavy stuff, I'm sorry. Let's go on. I apologize. Judy, you asked me what's on my mind, so I'm telling you what's on my mind, right? And the last part, before I leave some time for questions, this is me with my family. My husband was drafted to the army, as you can see. He actually volunteered because my husband is not young. He just celebrated 48 yesterday. It was his birthday. So he was released from the army already. I think a decade ago, maybe 10 or 12, but 16 years. I don't remember when I stopped washing his uniform. But he volunteered once the war started. He wanted to volunteer, and since a lot of soldiers were killed from the tank unit, and we were missing soldiers to operate tanks, and they had to take tanks that were already out of use. They took the old tanks. It's called Merkava 3. Now we are having Merkava 4. So this was Merkava 3. No one knows how to operate Merkava 3. It was like sitting in a storage room somewhere. So these people from his unit decided that they are taking Merkava 3 out of the garbage and operating them again. They brought electricians and technicians, and they made these tanks work again. But then you need people to operate them, and the young ones can't operate them because they don't know how to drive and how to use these tanks. So they took the volunteers, the old ones that knows how to operate the tank. And this is how my husband was called again to be a tank commander. So he's in Gaza for the last 1 month and a half, I think, and he will be there another month. And I'm just showing you one picture. As you can see, this is me with my husband. Can you see my pointer? Do you see my pointer? Yeah, okay. So this is me, this is my husband, the night before he left. This is my daughter who got married 6 months ago. And this is her husband, who is also a tank commander. So they're both drafted. My son-in-law, I think I haven't seen him for the last almost 2 months. So they're both in the army, both tank commanders. Sometimes they see each other at the area at the south. And this is from last night, just to show you. My husband came back after we haven't seen him, I don't know, I think for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. So this is my youngest son coming to him. So just I wanted to share with you how last night was at home. You can see all the mess waiting for me to come home and and make the laundry because in Sunday he's going back to the army. But this is how our life is now. And I know, if Judy, if you asked me to come here, I think 4 months ago or 6 months ago, I would give you a completely different presentation, completely different. But now my life is it's not just my life, everybody's life is upside down, inside out, everything's changed. So I'd like to thank you very much for listening and for inviting me and letting me to share with you some of my thoughts and feelings.
No, Rachel, thank you. I'm not sure what I was expecting, but that was very both emotional and who could imagine that a dental department, a dental expert could be involved in so much. I think it's amazing, and you told it so beautifully. So thank you so much. We've learned yet again that every part of society is involved in this situation at the moment. So let's start with the first question, which is an interesting one. Probably should have come up before when we've had other universities on. But is there any collaboration between certainly your dental department or even the university with other universities outside Israel, America, Europe, here?
Of course. We had a lot of collaborations. We're now having a students exchange programs also in the States and in Europe. We work a lot with dental schools throughout the world. We have a lot of collaborations, and we're always trying to expand more. So this is something that we do a lot. We have some of our programs in the dental school are international programs. For instance, the orthodontic department is international orthodontic studies. So people come from all over the world to study in Israel. They come for 3.5 years where they study and practice orthodontics. So they get to know Israel. Now it's more challenging, during the war, some of them left, but they all came back. We opened now a new course, and all students from Portugal, Cyprus, we have from Australia, we have from France, they're all coming back. They're all coming to study, and they support us, and we're all becoming one big family. So it's not just studying orthodontics, it's getting your ambassadors, the Israeli ambassadors, that later on spread the connection to Israel, and we keep in touch with them. I mean, my friends that I studied 10 years ago in the orthodontic department, we're still meeting together, and we're always in contact. So this is something that we see as a very important mission of the school, keep the international connection.
Excellent. Yes, as we keep saying, it's the connection which is always so important.
Yeah.
So we heard today that they're opening PTSD centers in Israel for the soldiers. but obviously it's not just affecting the soldiers, it's affecting the whole country. Is there anything that Tel Aviv does for trauma?
Yeah, a lot. I
Yeah.
mean, the University in general opened a lot of helping centers. They took the psychology department, the psychiatry department. I mean, there are a lot of, where you study, where you train the people. So they take all the stuff and they opened helping centers for the entire populations, but also for people from the university. We have a lot of soldiers. Just in the dental school, we had, I think, 70 soldiers that were drafted. Some of them are still are. So think in the university, I think, I don't know the exact numbers now, but they all need help. And the university is doing a lot to support and to provide treatment and professional treatment. I must share with you, last week, one of the students committed suicide. So all the students are, and she's not a soldier, but I think that all the situation and she lost a good friend of hers really put everybody in a very difficult position. So we're now really, we have a private treatment that we provide to the students. University provide therapy to the students to consult, to support them, because this is really a very difficult situation that we're in.
Absolutely. And every time, each week when we hear, it reminds us. And Lilach just posted that 6,000 students have been drafted from university as well. So, and that you've also opened a national PTSD centre. So, yes, it's so multifaceted and so many different sides. I thank you from the bottom of our hearts for joining us this morning and sharing with us, as I asked you to. And as I said, it's really not an easy ask. Thank you, Lilach and Cara, for bringing Rachel and suggesting her. It's been an amazing morning. Next week, we have educator Robbie Greengrass joining us. I hope to see you all then. And I wish you a safe, peaceful Shabbat and ongoing. And I know you said that you were going to be coming to London, and we look forward to welcoming you at JW3 and inviting everyone to come and meet you in person. So thank you so much. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you all. Thank you for your support, for all of you. It means a lot to us. We feel your support. We feel it. And I must thank you, really. And I speak, I think, from the entire people here in Israel. We feel like a very big family. We're all united and we're all connected. And we feel this support. And it means a lot to us. I can't even start telling you how much. So thank you so much for being together with us in this situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Shalom to all.
Shalom.